This is the Startup Still Say podcast. Thank you for tuning in. Do us a favor, like, subscribe on YouTube or LinkedIn, and be sure to give us your feedback. Hope you enjoy this episode.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Anthony Prakash, your host as always on Startups Dil Se. I'm delighted to be joined today by Denis Yakovenko, who's joining us from Toronto, Canada. And he is the CEO and the chief brains behind Faster Than Light. Denis and I had our initial conversation of all places on LinkedIn. We had a couple of chats about what each other is doing. I've found what Denis is doing with Faster Than Light super interesting. How he started off his journey as a software engineer coming straight out of school, and today he's helping a number of startups and a number of enterprises launch their product through Faster Than Light. And I hope you all get to learn what Denis is doing and what his team is doing and get inspired. Denis, welcome to the show.
Yep. Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting. A bit nervous, but excited.
I should be the one nervous, Denis. I mean, you've done a lot in your young career. So why don't we start with that? Just tell us about your journey. You went to school in Kiev. Looks like you went back to back with your bachelor's and master's as well, right?
Yeah. It's very common in Ukraine, the place where I grown, that you're doing your bachelor degree and basically right away you're starting your master degree, which I found a bit confusing. I would rather do a pause, but when you're young and you basically don't understand what you're going to do in this life, you have a straightforward approach that most of your students, your friends are following, so you're just following it with them and you're just getting your master's degree. Yeah, that's what happened to me as well.
So was there a reason you chose software engineering or just computer science, if you will, as your preferred choice to do a master's as well?
Actually, programming was always one of my favorite subjects. Back at school, I remember like those early days when like just laptops came up, and I was lucky enough to have one at home. Back then, there were like simple games, simple stuff. But still, I always kind of was inspired that it's something that is always on the age of technologies. Everybody's talking about it. So it was something that was driving me all the time. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do in my life, as probably most of people back then when you were 18. I just wanted to learn more and get some experience and obviously earn some money, because if you're at work afterward, you would expect this work to be well paid. So that's how I've got my first job as a developer right after I finished my university. And I've got some new skills. I've understood, how startups are working a bit, because we also worked on a few startups back then. And that job brought me some money and the opportunity to create cool things that I enjoyed a lot. And on the go, I've started learning how this business is built in general, and I have got a lot of aha moments. And then I got a very nice moment in my life. My son was born.
When was that?
My son was born. That was 2016.
Okay.
The birth of my son pushed me to basically grow and take more responsibility and create something that would allow me to earn more money and do something to make sure that he has also a happy life. And that's how I basically started my own company. It was super risky, but worked out, and I'm really happy about it. So now I have two babies that I really like in my life. That's why my son was born in April 2016 and the company was started in May 2016.
Wow, back to back. That must have been super heavy to deal with. So let's, this is a sort of a business podcast. I know who's more precious for you there among the two babies, but let's talk about Faster Than Light here. So you did mention it was a risky move, right? But I'm sure you gave it a lot of thought prior to saying, okay, this is the way to go. This is the future I want for me and my family. And of course, you had that background as the software developer, right? Which is your passion as well, that you said. So how did you kind of arrive at a a niche to say, okay, this is what I want to do through Faster Than Light. Because truth to be told, I mean, there were so many people out there who could say, you know what, let's do software development. But what was your vision behind Faster Than Light, and what is that space that you saw to say, okay, this is the space I'm going to go after and help these sort of people?
That's a very good question. First of all, when I've started it, I wasn't sure about it. And obviously, social expected answers that I would say, yeah, I had a vision, I wanted to. I knew that I'm going to nail it. But in fact, it was a super risky. And I was like, okay, let's give it a try. And let's see if I'm going to open the champagne afterwards. So that was a mood. But the reason why I decided to risk and why I saw an opportunity is all about people. So I understood that in this business, it's still a lot of opportunities, even though there are a lot of people, like you mentioned, a lot of companies that are doing their job. And some of them are doing it better, some of them are doing it worse. But I saw that actually when I worked especially with startups, they really value people. They actually don't really care about the company names. They don't really care about you're gonna work on Mac or Windows. They don't care about all of this stuff that seems like valuable. They really care about people that they're working with. So those people who are willing to go extra mile, who are like willing to raise a hand and say, hey, sorry, you are doing things wrong, and I can help you to do things right. That would save you time and money. Let me do my job, and not just quietly sitting somewhere on a Zoom and saying, yeah, no problem, we're going to do that.
Yeah,
I understood that those people are really valuable and they're rare.
yeah,
So basically, it's also not about, like technical knowledge. It's more about this kind of step in people that are not afraid, that are trying to actually act like owners in a company, even those, like we are obviously a service company. That's a sweet niche that always going to be needed. It doesn't matter how many companies you have, those companies that can provide such a service is always going to be on top. It doesn't
yeah,
matter actually if it's IT or not. You can hire a plumber, but if that guy gonna be, like a guy who really willing you to help, who is not looking why it can be done, but looking what can be done to make it happen, those type of personalities, basically. That's what I'm
got it.
trying to build in my company. That's why I decided, okay, either I need to find one of those in the market, either I need to create one. So I decided to go with the second approach.
Yeah, creation is much more, number one, fancier. Obviously, it's a bumpy ride. Than
Yeah.
I'm sure you've seen your ups and downs in your career. We'll get to that. But what sort of clients did you decide to go after today? So you did say startups, and they just care about the quality of people and whom they work with. But when you took the risk, you should have also had sort of an idea to say, here are the type of companies, and I'm going to knock on their doors and see how I can help them out.
Okay. So as for me, I would say I'm really good with working with the same type of people who is more looking for delivery, who is more looking for results, who is looking for a backup, not for guys
Outcome.
who
Yeah.
try, yeah, exactly, outcome, not for those who are trying to micromanagement, not for those who are just looking for another few guys in their multi-billion industry. So they would say, yeah, okay, actually it doesn't matter if it's like 2 more or 20 more, I don't care. I just need,
Yeah.
like some server to be up and running, and I have like unlimited amount of money, so I actually don't care. So even those, we had some experience with like really big companies that I cannot mention, but they are like super famous. You definitely know it, or you have their equipment at your home. We still prefer to work with startups. We call it a bit of cowboy development
Mhm.
because we know their mentality. I know their mentality. And they also looking for such a type of developers who can deliver stuff quickly with quality can understand, okay, what needs to be done, what's not. And those type of clients, they're usually startup owners. Either startup owners, either they already have a business, but they still have this kind of nice mentality. So they didn't forget yet how to run a business with joy, not with like multiple layers of managers. Those like middle management usually don't really care about the business. They care about their stocks. They care about their insurance, and they don't have this execution power. So usually you have this on top. C-level founders, co-founders, and bottom level. Usually, how it's like could be surprised, but usually that's how it works. And if you are able to shorten the distance, so if those who are actually execute, those who are actually influence on what's going to be delivered, can talk directly to those who is also interested in the success of their business, then you got a best possible result out from my experience. And usually such a short distance happens only in startups, because if you're talking about bigger clients, they have, like I said, multiple layers of managers, which is fine. Of course, they cannot avoid it, but
a lot of bureaucracy as well.
Yes. A lot of stuff is struggling because you simply cannot understand what business actually needs, and you cannot provide best possible results unless those like middle management is actually also really wants to move it forward. Usually, unfortunately, from my experience, again, that's not a case.
Yeah. So, in other words, I mean, just to summarize what you said, I mean, you need the right DNA of people sitting across the table on the clients with the right mindset with whom you can operate. I mean, otherwise, I mean, it's not only going to hurt them, hurt you, because I mean, that's not the type of work you want, and the quality is compromised as well. If they're micromanaging and you can't build great products. I mean, so that's something I've seen as well, because you're so focused on sticking to what you think is right rather than what the customer wants. So either the project is delayed, big time, overspent, all of that good stuff, versus focusing on delivering a world-class experience or putting together a world-class product, if you will.
Exactly. You've got it. So basically, that's a lose-lose for everyone. That's lose for us. Also, clients, they're unhappy with what's happening. So it's lose for them because they're not getting what they wanted to have. So it's always about finding right people from both sides. Right mindset in client side and right mindset on our side with people who are actually gonna execute, who actually gonna work on the project.
So with your journey so far, it's almost going to be 10 years very soon since you started. So next year would be a nice time to open another bottle of champagne, just like you said. Probably many bottles of champagne for you and your team. Where are you right now? I mean, compared to where you started off to where FTL is right now, can you paint a picture of what are the things you guys do? Where is your role? Do you have teams located, and what sort of work are you guys executing?
That's a tough question because there are a lot of sub questions inside.
I mean, to whatever extent you want to share, go ahead.
Yeah, no worries. So as for the faster than light, I must say I'm happy where we are. When I started this company almost 10 years ago, I didn't expect that we're gonna have COVID, that hit the whole industry, and we back then had a lot of projects in entertainment industry, and that was a big hit. Then, since I used to be based in Ukraine, we got a war, which also affected us a lot. Nowadays, I would say I'm happy where we are. We are not that big company that I wanted to be, but still we are focused on what we can do best, basically deliver to our clients. We are gaining more clients, even those nowadays all this startup industry kind of shrinking a bit, and a lot of competition on the market more than ever. A lot of AI tools that a lot of startup owners believe that why do I need developers? Come on, I can write everything with AI tool. And at some point it is right. If you need a landing, good to go. just within AI tool and a lot of tools on the market that you can use. Very small budget, probably cost of a lunch, you can build yourself a website. But if you're talking about real developments, you still need proper developers. I'm happy with people that are working with me, since I'm working with developers. And again, it's a very competitive market, not only for us as agencies, but also for developers, because they can basically work for any company in the world.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna just change your browser. Here you go. Now you're working for Microsoft. Like alt up, and now you're working for, I don't know, any NVIDIA. Doesn't matter where it's headquarter anymore. It's also important to have right people that gonna work with you, and they're gonna believe in you. And me as owner really trust them and believe in them. So I'm really happy that we've built the trust. The people that are working with me, they're dedicated, they're willing to deliver those results. They're willing to grow, and I'm happy where we are. So that's
Nice.
about the company. Yeah. As for the people itself, like I said before, we had a headquarter in Kiev, and back then, on those times where there were dinosaurs on the streets before COVID, people were visiting offices. Nowadays, it's all like a gun, and they all around the world. They could be in Poland, it could be in Estonia, they could be, I don't know, in Brazil. It doesn't matter anymore. And for
Nice.
me, also in a company, since we are working worldwide with different time zones, it's one of the questions from customers, from clients. They're always curious. Okay, how are you going to work with London, Australia, I don't know, New York? And it's actually doesn't matter. It's also not a problem anymore, because people like spread all around the world. And yeah, that's also quite an interesting challenge nowadays, to keep them happy, to keep them working as a team when they all remote. It
Yeah.
doesn't work anymore, so you gather them in one place and you've kind of created this life vibe. So it's extra challenge, but it's nice to have it, honestly. So I'm happy where we are.
Very
Still
nice.
growing, but yeah, I hope I've answered your question.
You did. Yeah. I mean, being a founder, being a CEO, especially where you've come from, taking a big risk, especially after your son was born. I mean, it's not many people can do it. So, kudos to you for doing that. I'm
Thank
very
you.
happy that it's successful and you are happy where you are. So, having said that, I want to switch gears a little bit. I mean, we spoke about faster than light so far, but I mean, I would like to learn a little bit more Dennis as a person, right? I mean, you obviously started off as a software guy who likes to write code. I mean, I know you do a lot of pet projects on your own as well. Yeah. So, how has this journey changed you as a person? Because, I mean, right now, you're not just thinking about yourself. You're not thinking about your family. You're thinking about many people in the company as well, their lives too, right? So, how would you say you've kind of grown as a person, lessons that you've learned in your journey as a CEO, Dennis?
That's an interesting question. Well, I must say I've changed a lot. Some of my things are still there. Others changed a lot. After so many books about management, after so many people that worked in a company, I remember first time I was needed to actually fire a person. That was so stressful. I've called to my mentor, like my previous manager, and asked him, okay, any advices? What you would suggest me to do? He said, like, yeah, just don't try to humiliate, and don't humiliate yourself. Be yourself. It's okay. Just
Yeah.
explain what happened, like no emotions and all those advices. And I was like, okay, so much things I need to keep in mind. And nowadays, as any person who are just working and working for my project, for my companies, there are no day offs, no sick leaves. Even those you can put a day off in your calendar, clients don't care. Actually, people, even though they respect it, things are happening and you still need to be in touch. That change a lot the way of how you're thinking, that change a lot of way how you basically live your life. All those books about work-life balance, also, like I've read so many of them, and it's still an interesting journey with by yourself.
Mm.
I'm happy where I am again. I learn a lot. My technical background helps me to find this sweet niche of knowing, I would say, developers' language, because for me
Yeah.
it's super easy to understand what they're talking about, what they're facing with, and even those I haven't wrote any line of code for a couple of years already, unfortunately, because I liked it a lot. I still can talk to them their language. But over the years, I've also learned business language, what business actually needs, because business don't care about, I don't know, where you're going to deploy it, what struggles you're having there. Business just need like we're simple language. Usually answer how much it would
Show me the
cost.
product. Yeah.
Yeah, when it's going to be done, when I can
Yeah.
show it to my investors. And it's very
Exactly.
nice. This changed me a lot because now I learn how to be, like structured, to talk to business, how to be kind of in the sweet spot, how to
Yeah.
translate it and make those both really great worlds work together. And obviously that affects my life, because even when I'm talking to my parents, I kind of have this switch that I'm trying to be very well organized. I'm trying to be, like very structured with, I don't know, to-do list and everything. And it doesn't work
Yeah.
in real life, unfortunately. I have a lot of
100%.
expectations.
Yeah, because I mean, a lot of people say, "Oh, you got to compartmentalize your life." Don't let work come into your personal life and vice versa. But I mean, as humans, it is very natural for it to crisscross and both impact, both lives in a good way and a bad way, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, but it's totally up to the individual to figure out what works best for them. What works for you may not work for me, and vice versa, right? But back to your point on, you were saying you speak the business language as well from a developer language. I mean, I look at it as you're wearing so many different hats right now. When you're wearing a CEO hat, you also have to play a HR person's hat at times. Like you said, you have to fire somebody from the company. You also have to be an investor sort of a hat if need be, right? I mean, all of those. Plus, when you go home, you got to play dad, you got to play a partner, whatever it is, right? So many things that we got to look through.
Yeah, that's true. That's absolutely true. But I would say that it happened to a lot of us. Each personality, even those you're not a CEO or owner or investor, you might have less responsibility. That's true. But wearing those different hats, yeah, it's still a thing for everyone. It just matter if you understand all those hats or not, or if it's like a surprise for you that you're actually wearing different hats, and then you kind of should behave a bit differently, because I cannot behave the same as I'm doing as a CEO with my son. It just simply doesn't work like this, because my son is not a
he
developer.
he is
Yeah.
actually the CEO of you. You're not a
Yes,
CEO.
exactly, exactly. And a lot of people, like they have this kind of assumption, I would say, that, okay, if you're a startup owner or CEO, you finally reach this sweet spot where you boss for yourself. You are the only boss. Nobody can tell you what to do and how to behave and how to, like live your life. But that's not true. So the truth is, if you would have, for example, your kids, they would really influence on your life a lot in multiple ways. Your wife, even your cat can influence in your life, because that bad guy doesn't care if you're a CEO or not, if you have a very important meeting or not. He's still gonna do his job. So it's the same. With clients, for them, I'm not a boss. I'm also listening them. I'm also listening my employees, what they are telling, what is important for them, and I'm trying to listen to them and trying to adjust my behavior, not to be, I don't know if it's possible to say bad words in this podcast, but I think you've got what I mean.
Oh yeah, totally understand. So, Dennis, you did say you read quite a bit in this conversation, right? I mean, you read a lot of books. You also mentioned that you have mentors whom you reach out to in case you run into a tough situation or
Mhm.
whatnot to get advice. Through this journey, I mean, who has been your inspiration? Do you have any people you look up to say, oh, I want to be like that person? I mean, I want to follow that person's footsteps, if you will, whether it's in the business
That's
world or
again, you're really good in asking questions. You're really good in it. That's a good question. At the beginning of my journey, I thought, and I had also this kind of assumption that there are some supermans. You can take anyone like Musk or Jeff Bezos, whatever, like famous figures or not. They could be from any industries. It could be, I don't know, some famous actor. You would say, yeah, Tom Cruise, he's a genius because he has so many licenses. He's doing everything by himself. But then slowly you're realizing, like at least in my case, I realized that there are no supermans in this life. Each person has actually real life some struggles in their life. They could be divorced, they could have bad relationships with all the friends, and they could be really selfish even though they're genius. So what I found inspiring for me is that I can take some good parts of different people and follow only those particular parts. There are no one persons that I would say, yeah, he is or she is my
my role
hero.
model.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I would like to be like this person. No, sometimes it could be even not a real person. It could be somebody from books, but I just see some, like behavior.
characteristics.
I see some, yeah, exactly. I see interesting things of how they handle some problems, even though it's not real person. I still kind of try to get this feeling of how they approach the situation, how they try to find a solution, and kind of accept it to my life and trying to build myself because I like this approach, because I like how they
That's
resolve
beautiful.
the conflict. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's kind of Frankenstein from different
I
different.
love that. Yeah, I mean, it's so genuine because, I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, you can't model yourself. I mean, it's not like, they're a saint or something, right? I mean, they do everything well and they are great or a genius. I mean,
Mhm.
you can get inspiration, like you said, even from your cat, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So making it your own and, just looking up to all those good habits of people is a good way to go. And it's a nice way to think about, how you inspire yourself. So thanks for sharing that. So back to FTL itself, Dennis. How did you guys come up with the name? Who came up with the name?
I expected this question. Actually, we started it with my good friend, and he came up with the name because of a video game. Back then, he played a video game, and even those I would wish to say that yeah, we had a long journey and we tried to figure out how it's gonna be called. But at the end, it doesn't really matter. It's more matter what you're gonna put behind the name. What are gonna be the people
No,
that.
see, to be told, I mean, when I spoke to you a couple of times and I saw the name, it's number one, catchy, which is important for a name.
Mhm.
Number two is, at least from my perspective, I try to connect the dots to what FTL meant and what it means to your customers. I mean, the
Mhm.
customers you're working with, at least the majority of them, that's how they want stuff delivered as well, right? I mean, whether it's
Exactly. Yeah,
building your product.
honestly, that was not, like just a nice name. Kind of tasted it. So, you kind of taste it. Okay, do I want to work in faster than light? If that's a name that I really want to work with, and you're like, yeah, that sounds great. And actually, internally, we often use, like a short name, which is FTL. And then we've came up with another naming is Fuck the Limits, because same letters, but again, also really much our vibe of what we are doing. But obviously, you cannot call your company like this. So that's kind of internal name for all the work that we are doing. I really hate all those limits and all those saying, okay, it's impossible to achieve, it's impossible to deliver, it's way, like too small deadlines, whatever it is. So that's why I'm trying to teach my folks, like, guys, do you remember the company names? They're like, yeah, you know what you're gonna say. So yeah, that's another internal name.
Nice. I like it. Yeah. I mean, again, whatever inspires you. I mean, in this case, FTL could stand for many things, and it aligns with your story as well. So that's awesome. So I didn't ask you about if there are people listening and they are in startups or any other business for that matter. What sort of technologies do you support or want to be supporting for the clients? A list of or the like a catalog of things that you want to tell people?
That's a good question. Yeah, we are working with web. So we on our website it says we do web because everything that's working in web basically we are working with that. All we do have designers, we do have front-end developers, back-end developers, mobile developers, QA, like all those people that you might need when you're actually building something. We have them.
Yeah.
And the technology itself, it's also not that important nowadays, especially I would say whenever we've started with Ruby on Rails, and that was top technology for startups back then. But nowadays, everything is growing rapidly. Nowadays, you have like Node.js, I don't know, React, Go. You have so many different
Flutter.
frameworks that helps you. Yeah, Flutter, for example, that was just non-existing back then. Nowadays, everything goes so quickly. While we are talking, like a few frameworks were born and few more were dead already. So
Yeah,
it
yeah.
doesn't matter. Technology
I know what you
doesn't
mean.
matter anymore.
Yeah. Awesome. So, Dennis, anything else you'd like to share about yourself or Faster Than Light that I probably didn't touch on that you would like to share with the world?
Good question again. For the end, it's always important to say something inspiring. But honestly, I would say we are doing just great job. Proud of what we are doing. Not to be, not to create it as a commercial episode. Just I'm proud of what we're doing, and I'm appreciated you for me talk about who we are and what we are doing. That's great. And yeah, no more things from my side. I would say that I'm really appreciated for this time. That's all.
Anytime, Dennis. I mean, your story is very inspiring. I mean, trust me, not a lot of people will take the path that you've taken, right? And come to a point where you are employing so many people and pursuing your passion, which was in software, helping startups build products. And of course, you can't mention everything that you've worked on, but I know for a fact that, I mean, some of them are products that we touch on a daily basis. So kudos to you and the team. And let's keep in touch. And I hope this episode's a learning for people who, again, want to be a founder, take the risk, jump in, and the results will come. So thanks again, Dennis. Good talking to you.
Thank you.